Alrighty, so we got another good episode for you guys today. Today is going to be pretty short and to the point. We're going to walk through what happened today and why it's easy to make money off of suckers. Realistically, people are just dumb with their money or emotional with their investments. It comes down to that. And again, brings me back to a conversation I had, I don't know, what is it, a couple weeks ago with a friend of mine. He was doing day trading, and his main thing were swing trades, which I had to actually Google it and look it up again. But it's basically you buy something on a Monday and you want to sell it by Friday and make money. In essence, it's kind of timing of the market, but that wasn't even the biggest problem. I mean, that is a problem for sure because that's just really stupid. But realistically, it was like he was emotional. He was like worried about losing money, or what if I do this, and what if I don't get in early enough, and what if I don't get out on time, and what if I pick the wrong thing? And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of felt bad for him. I mean, this guy's a really smart guy. He's a business owner, definitely a very smart guy, but just he brought his emotions into the game with him. And, for me, it's like I don't even look at the market. Like I literally, it's 3:00 Pacific time when I'm recording this, and I think I first looked at my portfolio today at 2:30, which is 5:30 Eastern time. I mean, the market had been closed for a while. But I had heard a couple things that, just throughout the day, just kind of watching the business channel, and I didn't really even watch the tickers on the business channel, but they were just talking about a topic we're going to talk about today. And to be honest, I'm floored at how stupid some people can be. Not my friend Mike. He's not referring to him. I am transitioning a little bit, but it's how stupid people are with their money. And if you actually take a step back, take your emotions out of it, and just approach things like in a halfway rational basis and slow down and just look at it without hurrying or worrying or anything like that, you're going to make a lot of money. And so today, one of the things I saw is the market started up, and then obviously you can look and something happened. It went down a little bit, and it's right here, the tenor changed. So that was what time was this? 10:20 a.m. Pacific time. So 1:20 Pacific time, last hour that the market was open. And I thought, okay, it's probably Europe then. That's probably the thing that people were just talking about this morning. And I don't know all the details. So I went over to here, and sure enough, what did they write? A closely watched gauge of economic health is flashing a warning in Europe. And they're worried that England and France and Italy are going to go in these draconian lockdowns. But their leaders have said they're not going back and doing that again. I think part of the reason why is they're going to have a civil war on their hands. But secondly, you look at Sweden, and Sweden decided, says, heck with it. We're not doing that. We're not closing things down. We'll be measured approach. We'll social distance. We'll encourage people to wear masks. But we're not stopping what we're doing. We're not shutting down businesses. We're not making everybody go broke. And so you look at what happened here, and basically everybody kind of started to panic. And you look, everything here is in the red. And anyway, so I looked at this, and I'm like, wow, my first thought was, and if you've watching these videos for a while, I like the down days almost better than the up days. This is an opportunity for me to make real money. I mean, it's equivalent to shopping for a TV or an appliance on Black Friday. I mean, you're going to walk into that store and you're going to see a killer discount. So sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And so one of the things that I always tell you guys is you want to have a plan to make money when the market goes up, and you want to have a plan to make money when the market goes down. And so we actually executed on that today. So one of the things that we had was, and I don't have it here, but one of the things we had here was we had a limit buy for Soho, which is this stock. If you've been watching me for a while, you understand that. I don't know. It kind of tugs at my heart. I've wanted to own this for a while, but just other things have been the priority. So it's kind of like Susan Lucci. It's kind of the person that finished second 900 times in a row. There was always somebody better, always a bridesmaid, never the bride. So anyway, I put in an offer because I'd seen the stock go down a little bit, and it rose up on my upside chart, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. Well, actually, we'll just go there right now. It went up on my upside chart, and this Soho was way down here before. It was down at 2. And it basically rose up and it broke 3. And honestly, it appeared above the fold, meaning I don't have to scroll down to look at it. And it started showing here and moving up and moving up and moving up. And I just thought, okay, well, we're going to put in a price where if it hits a certain price, I'll buy it. If I don't buy it, so be it. I mean, how many times have I decided not to buy it before but wanted to buy it? Sure enough, it hit that price today. It hit 170, which was my goal, and then it bounced back up to 171. So perfect price point, I think. Maybe it goes down tomorrow. Who knows? But anyway, so it goes in line with kind of the philosophy I have is we're going to set. I come from a business background, and so one of them is, when you look at profits, it's price versus cost, price minus cost. And so we want to set our cost basis as low as possible. I mean, that is the long-term goal. So we got Soho at 170, and we're going to take a look at some other stocks and see what we can do there. So we got that sold today. That leads into some limit orders that we have. And then one of the other things, one of the limit orders we had went up as well yesterday, was Two Harbors Investment, which is a REIT, that went up to 520, and I sold that off. It's so cool. I mean, I'd like to say that I'm lucky, and I do think there's a little bit of luck in it, but I think I've analyzed it really well. So it actually went up to 520. I think it hit 521 and then went back down. So I sold it at 520, the perfect price point. So we freed up some money there. Pick the right price point, and let's clear this out. All right. So with that being said, we'll take a look at the upside today. We'll talk about big picture things, and we'll go on forward. So overall, our upside, which is basically a measure of the February price, which is when the market started going down versus the price we have today. So in other words, if the price today goes back to where it was on February 20th alone, and some of them are going to go way past it, that is our upside ratio. So we pretty much own everything in here. Helix Energy is one we're considering. Condor, not yet. I mean, Condor is going to really have to win me over. And Texas Hospitality is getting into the $1 range. If it falls under $1 for a certain number of days, it's at risk of being delisted. So I'm probably going to hold off on that. Maybe I'll buy it if we see it jump up to, 170. But overall, we have some good stocks here, considering Norwegian, considering Service. But outside of that, I think we're staying pat pretty well. All right. So with that being said, talk about one thing that I looked at. I was listening to today, and I was actually on YouTube, and I was watching one of President Trump's speeches at a rally in Pennsylvania. And he kept talking about, the numbers are going to be coming out next month for third quarter. He says they're going to be amazing, some of the best numbers you've ever seen. And, I'd heard that before, but then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I've heard him say this like 19 times, and he's totally open about it. And he's said it about 1 million times. And I'm thinking, if I was Biff Tannen and I knew the sports, if I knew the score of the Super Bowl, and I walked into Caesars, who we own that stock, and decided to bet on the Super Bowl, and I knew what the score was going to be, I'd be bragging to every person in that sports book as well, thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. They're going to win by this much, blah, blah, boom. And I'd be bragging because I know the outcome. And I'm thinking, he's the president. He probably has all the data already. He probably gets, daily updates or weekly updates on it. And he's got to see these numbers, and it has to blow his mind. And so he goes to these rallies. He speaks off the cuff. And he's just bragging. These are going to be some of the greatest numbers. Q3 is going to come at the end of October, which presumably it will, because the end of September is the end of Q3. And you can't sit here and say that to all these people and then all of a sudden have a negative number. This number has got to be amazing. So I'm looking at my portfolio right now, and you look at a day like this where the stock goes down, and I'm like, these people are suckers. I'd rather buy here than buy here. So you want to make sure that your portfolio is set, because when those numbers come out, you're going to see the market take off. And I think you're also going to see some leaking of numbers, so you're going to see some early indications with the market going up. So the long and short of it is when you see a day like this, I'm not actually sad. I'm like, this is even more of a time for me to buy. When the market goes up, I feel like, okay, great, it went up, but it's almost like you're selling out, because that's not the day that you want to buy anything, because the price of whatever you're going to buy just went up. So it doesn't really make sense to do that. So with that being said, we'll touch on one last thing, COVID numbers. So we talked about they're worrying about in Europe because the numbers are going up. And, I don't really have a deep dive on that. I'll probably know something later, but we'll see. But overall, numbers are flat. The curve on cases is going down. I mean, look at it. That is the trend line right there from a regression table or a regression line. That's your line right there. So if you're on a ski slope, it's you got to be a pretty good skier to go down that slope. Testing, I mean, it's basically been the same forever. The number of cases, the number of positive cases is just going down. I mean, that is your trend line right there. And we're at a point where it's like we've done such a good job here in San Diego County, and yet according to the California governor's standards, we can't open any more businesses up. And so the county board of supervisors, to their credit, and I hope your county board does this as well, they got so sick of it because in order to get to open 50% capacity in restaurants, you have to have less than 1 in 100,000 people with a positive coronavirus case, which is just like, that is so, it's not exactly encouraging people to do more. Like once you've hit a certain point, you don't have anything to gain, you're kind of not working that hard anymore. And you don't really have that motivation to do so. And it's like baseball season now. There's teams that they've clinched their playoff position and they're not really going to go anywhere different. So it really doesn't matter if they win their games. I mean, they want to win their games to keep going, but it's not like their playoffs are on the line. So these numbers are going down as well. Hospitalizations, again, if you're a skier, you better be a good skier to go down here, because it went from almost 200 to like 81. So, I mean, it's like going down dramatically. We'll look at hospital beds in use. Yeah, 300 on a bed capacity of 6,100. Deaths by day, again, the average is like 1 or 2, maybe, in a county of 3 million people. All of them are by the border checkpoints. And then we look at here, and like these are the most recent ones you see here. 87, 94, 67, 93, 63, 73, 77, 96, pretty much all with conditions. And then, yes, every so often you play craps and you're going to roll a 12. I mean, that's why they have it on the table. So you had actually somebody who's 47, Pacific Islander, no underlying health conditions. No offense, but like I know people that are 47 and Pacific Islander, and they are not exactly the skinniest people in the world. So I'm guessing when they say underlying health conditions, it's probably not like emphysema or something like that. But the person's not exactly a 6% body fat person. So, and then with that being said, hey, I'm politically incorrect. I'm not a politician, so it really doesn't matter. We had a couple, it's crazy things. This is where you roll 12. You had a 60, which is reasonably possible having it, and then a 44-year-old person with no underlying health conditions. So the question is, and I don't even know if this is the case, is obesity an underlying health condition? Who knows? I don't know what the situation is, but once in a blue moon, it's going to happen. But everything else is yes across the board. 94, 80, 78, 77, 91. I mean, it's just going to happen. 91 Pacific Islander, geez, that's going to be with underlying health conditions. I mean, you better live in a bubble if that's the case, because you're probably going down. With all due respect, you're probably going down. But anyway, the numbers are good here. People are freaking out about Europe. They're freaking out about the fact that they don't think a stimulus package, or not even stimulus, but like a relief bill is going to pass Congress because of the whole RBG fight. And then you have an election coming up, which is basically the biggest game of chicken that you're going to see anywhere. So the question is, are you going to approach it emotionally and you're going to approach your stock investing like you're playing a game of chicken? Or are you going to approach it rationally, take the emotion out of it, and find opportunities where people are losing money purposefully? In other words, they're selling when things go bad, right? And not looking at days when you have days like today when the market went down as opportunities to go discount shopping. So, but that's what we do here. We still have a goal. My goal, I don't know what your goal is. Write to me, put a comment in there and tell me. But my goal is getting a beach house with the money we're going to make. And my eye's been on the ball the whole time, and it's not changing. And everything that I do is about getting that frickin' beach house. So what's your goal? What do you want to do with it? What's your plan? And what do you have planned for tomorrow? So for here, we're pretty much well set. If the market goes up, we have some limit orders that might kick in pretty soon. If the market goes down, I'm going to let it go down a little further. I have no problem with it going down a little bit further. This is a long-term game, so I'm not going to put any limit buys in. So that's kind of my plan. If the market goes down, I'm going to get a little bit greedy, be fearful when people are greedy, and greedy when people are fearful. I'm being greedy, and I'm not. I want to see it go down even further before I buy even more. So what's your plan? Let's think about that, make some decisions, and I'll see you tomorrow.
To get more information on the sales cheat code, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. Also, down below in the video description, down there, there's a link that takes you to our website that gives you additional content, some additional freebies that we have, and gives you information on some programs that we have that have been proven to help people to make sales easy so that you can make the kind of money you want, live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, and not have to struggle in the process. And what might be the coolest thing of all is you don't have to put much effort into it. It truly is a cheat code that most people don't know about. And it's a cheat code that can change your life today. So click on the link below and let me help you start to experience these results starting right now.